So we're going to do HgBrO3. HgBrO3. And there's two BrO3s. Okay, let's go over to this little flow sheet and we'll try to figure out how to name this thing. So here's our naming thing. Is this an acid? Yes or no? No, it's not an acid. Yes, it starts off with an H, but it's not an H as in hydrogen. It's an Hg as in mercury. Is this ionic? Yes, it is. So we are not going with the Greek prefixes. Is this a polyatomic ion? Is this polyatomic? Let me see. Yes, it is a polyatomic ion. So all we have to do is name the compound. And all we have to do is we are going to say, well, wait 1 second. Let me go back to that one page. I'll go a little bit higher. Bromate. Bromate is BrO3. That's what we had, right? And that has a -1. The thing about mercury is it doesn't have like this oxidation state that we know and we can just name off really easily. Notice mercury's way in here. Mercury can actually have an oxidation number, multiple different oxidation numbers. Let me take a look and see if I can find exactly what are some of the numbers it could be. Here it is. Mercury can either be +2 or +1. And the thing is, we don't know whether or not this is the +2 oxidation, the +2 version of mercury or the +1 version of mercury. But here's what we do know. We do know that the word is going to end with bromate. And in this particular case, it required 2 bromates, which had a charge of -1 attached to it, right? We looked up in that table we saw up there. It had a charge of -1 or an oxidation number of -1 attached to it. And so in order to balance out those 2 -1 charges, this must have been the +2 version of mercury. So we would write mercury with little parentheses and put a Roman numeral 2 in the middle. If it were mercury 1, then we would write just, mercury and then put a little parentheses with a Roman numeral 1 in the middle. Sorry. This is telling me I better wrap this thing up. Okay, so we're dealing with mercury 2 bromate. By the way, if I were to write mercury 1 bromate, that would have had to change the symbol of my compound, my formula. It would be HgBrO3 2. Oh no, I'm sorry. There wouldn't be a 2 because you only need 1 BrO3 to balance out with the +1 version of mercury. So depending on how you write it, it changes the formula. And in this case, for this one right here, we're dealing with mercury bromate.